In this section, we're going to look at dyslexia, the definition further, and this time we're going to look at the challenges that come with this different way of thinking and processing information. But first, just a couple of big overview facts. Dyslexia is genetic. It runs in families, and the research shows that if a parent is dyslexic, there's a 50% chance that the child will be dyslexic as well. And the numbers are that at least 15 up to even 20% of the population has dyslexia. Dyslexia is a language processing issue. It means that someone with dyslexia has to put in more time and effort to learn to read, write, and spell. Dyslexics can also have difficulty pronouncing words, as they can struggle to hear the sounds that make up the words. Auditory processing is when the brain struggles to understand what it's hearing. The person can still have perfect hearing, it's just their brain's processing of what they hear is the difficulty. Examples of auditory processing include being given a list of verbal instructions and not being able to retain them, maybe only remembering one instruction. It can also be, for example, if dyslexics are trying to focus on what a person is saying and there is background noise, such as in a shop with people talking or at work with a noisy heater going, they can struggle to maintain that concentration and focus on what the person is saying. It can also impact when someone is explaining something new or giving you information, and when they finish giving that chunk of information, they move on to talk about something else or something new. Dyslexics will still be there processing the information from that first part and can miss the second part. So this difficulty with auditory processing can make it difficult in loud areas to understand what people are saying easily. It makes it hard to follow verbal instructions or information, and it means that dyslexics can miss a lot of information if it's all spoken to them. Dyslexics struggle with poor short-term memory, and this can affect their ability to retain information. For example, it can be if they're reading a sentence in a book. They read the first part of the sentence, but by the time they get to the second part of the sentence, they can't remember the start of it, and therefore will have poor comprehension of what they're reading. It can also be difficult to hold information in mind and use it, and this is working memory. And this can be with things such as like basic facts when learning maths and common spelling words. Other examples of difficulty with short-term memory is when you're trying to retain multi-step instructions, especially if they're verbal. Being able to take and hold information from one place to another, for example, like you look at one computer screen and you want to hold that information to type it onto another computer screen, that's really difficult with the short-term memory challenges. It can also be forgetting key points in discussions or forgetting how to complete tasks even though you've done them before. What dyslexics can do is actually retain information on a concept or bigger picture level more easily. It's when they have to retain the details that they find it takes more effort. Another challenge for dyslexic thinking is ordering and sequencing of information and processes. It makes it difficult for dyslexics to know the steps needed to complete a task easily and efficiently, or how to put information into an order. This comes about because dyslexics hold the whole picture, the whole amount of information in their head at one time. And that makes it difficult to break it down and know where to start and what steps you need to start on. When younger, it may have shown as difficulties with the steps needed to tie a shoelace, or knowing the days of the week, or the months of the year. As you get older, it can be the steps needed to organise a task, the steps needed to complete a writing task like a report for work or an email, or the steps needed to complete a maths calculation. It really impacts on a dyslexic's ability to know how to start on a task or a project if they can't see what the first step is. And that's when it's really helpful to get some support externally for sequencing outside your head. Quite often you'll hear and see people saying dyslexics need more processing time. I agree they do, but it's not because dyslexics are slower at processing, but because they are trying to sort the information they are hearing or seeing and convert it into a format that works for their brain. And really, the format that works is a visual-based, concept-level thinking format. It's not that they're processing slower, it's they're processing a lot of information very fast, and they have to really try and convert it and translate it into a way that works for their brain. It's more difficult converting from verbal information into a visual format, so that will take more effort. So this is the summary of the challenges that come with dyslexic thinking. It's a language processing issue, so more time and effort is needed for a dyslexic's brain to learn to read, write, and spell. That the processing of auditory information is difficult. The short-term memory and the ordering and sequencing of information are challenges that dyslexics have to work with. And needing processing time to convert and translate information they are given into a format that works for their brain.